Hey Phone Dog viewers, BoHD here, and as many of you know, I released my full review of the Amazon Fire Phone not too long ago, and I mentioned the camera just wasn't that great. It has a 13 megapixel sensor with a 5 megapixel front-facing camera, and so I just wanted to revisit that area of the phone because I'm confident I can get some pretty decent looking shots by tweaking some of the settings some more. So let's take a look. Now upon booting up the camera app, you'll see it's very basic as there's really not a whole lot to work with here. You'll find buttons to turn the flash on or off and to switch the camera from the rear to the front facing camera. And besides that, there's a menu for all your different settings, all 4 of them, those being the HDR mode, image review, lenticular camera mode, which is basically just a squared off picture, and then the panorama mode. Next to that you have your shutter button below and picture or video recording toggle switch. But when it comes to actually snapping a picture, the shutter speed on this camera is pretty slow, especially compared to the Galaxy S5 or LG G3. I mean, it takes a good 2 to 3 seconds to actually take a picture after you press the shutter button compared to the 0.3 seconds or so on the LG G3 and other competing devices. So hopefully it can be sped up with a software update in the future because that is most likely what it needs. And so if we take a look at the pictures it produced, I found that you can actually get pretty good quality pictures from this phone if you adjust some of these settings. Unlike most Android phones where you pretty much just use HDR mode anywhere and get good results, you really have to use the HDR mode only when you're taking photos outside with this phone and turn it off when you're snapping pictures inside. Otherwise the sharpness and exposure will be all over the place. And so that is what I did while recording these pictures, and as you can see, they're really not too bad, and I'd say they're definitely better than the pictures I included in my review. I did notice that the pictures I shot in direct sunlight turned out to be very warm. They almost all had a noticeable yellowing to them, which I thought was a bit unusual. But one area that I'm actually really impressed with is the front-facing camera, because Amazon has included a 5 megapixel sensor on the front to handle all your selfie picture-taking needs. And since most phones have a 2 megapixel front-facing camera, the front-facing camera on the Fire Phone is definitely above average as it takes pretty decent pictures, most of which are better than any other front-facing camera out there, really. I would have liked to maybe see a wider lens on the front so that you don't have to hold your phone at arm's length away from you to get your whole body in the shot, but with that said, I've seen front-facing cameras with even more restricting fields of view, so I can't really complain too much. I just thought I'd suggest that just in case any Amazon rep is watching. Now as for video recording, what you see is what you get in that you can't really change any sort of recording settings. It's limited to 1080p at 30 frames per second, which is certainly not bad, but there's no super slow-mo or 4K recording on this camera, which is a slight disappointment. But with that said, the video playback isn't terrible. It's pretty decent for 1080p at 30 FPS, but it would be nice to see some additional recording options, that's for sure. And one of the most unique features of the camera on the Fire Phone has to do with this new mode called FireFly that lets you scan pretty much any text, barcode, or package, and Amazon will automatically detect it and pull it up in a web page or Amazon listing of the item. It works pretty well actually the more I used it and discovered the various things you can actually scan with it. I whipped out my business card to see if it would detect some of the links, and sure enough, it did. So that's pretty neat. I mean, it also does a pretty good job detecting music and TV shows too when you press either the music or TV icon at the top. When it identifies a track or show, it'll bring you to the Amazon listing of the show or music you're listening to so that you can go ahead and purchase it, which is really the only thing that it kind of annoys me, but they do have some great prices on most of their items, so I really can't complain. But at the end of the day, for a 13 megapixel camera sensor, the Fire Phone is capable of taking pretty solid photos and videos. If you're the type that really likes to tweak every little camera setting or mode, the Fire Phone is very limited. It's probably not the best phone for you. But if you want a camera that just works right when you power it on without having to adjust a whole lot of settings, then hey, this might be the phone you're looking for. And so with that said, that is my complete review of the camera on the Amazon Fire Phone. If you'd like to watch my complete review of this phone, I'll leave a link for you to do so down below in the description bar. But as always guys, I'm BoHD from PhoneDog.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.